Hi, guys.
Hello, guys.
Everyone.
So as I normally, if you've been on these before, I know you have, Oliver. Can you please start jumping into the chat and just introducing what you like? Maybe a good question is, what do you do and do you use Lovable in your work at the moment? I am actually going to chuck in a poll, which will allow you to answer to say, is it popped in? Here we go. Yeah. Are you currently building with AI or Lovable?
I'll put that I'm confident.
I feel like I am, but I think I'm really keen to learn about what I don't know.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Like I think I can whip something up, but is it great? I don't know.
It's also like everything in life. It's a never-ending learning curve as well.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, well, you don't know.
And it's so fast-paced. Like every day I go on Reddit just to find what is the next big thing someone built with Lovable.
Yeah.
And things that I built 3 months ago are completely out of date.
Yeah. When I started building a job board, and what like the first version of it is just so shit. Versus I've started rebuilding because there's so much things you learn to be like, okay, cool, I can make this a whole lot cleaner. Anyone who has just joined, if you can jump into the chat, let us know what you're working on, and then obviously there's a poll, not a poll, just asking where you're at with building with Lovable AI.
Sofia, Renacer Migrante. I work in a migration company for a while. Definitely there's something there. 100% you can build something.
Amazing. Yeah, I bloody love it because I work in recruitment, and I haven't done heaps with it in recruitment, but I know you have, obviously, with Sherlock. But even my community, and I'm building like a festival, and so I'm building like a booking app where people at the festival can meet each other. So it just helps me level up that festival experience, plus like building a bunch of stuff for a cohort I'm running. I love it, how you can just really productize parts of your business. Amazing.
Yeah, there's one guy, I'm pretty sure in Canada, we're gonna see the case today. He built a restaurant booking tool and made $120,000 in like a couple of months, all with Lovable.
Yeah, if you're a SaaS company right now, I'd be worried. Cool. Maya has actually just joined the Antler residency as a technical founder. I'm really curious about seeing everyone's cases with what Lovable is. Amazing.
That's awesome. So are you starting soon, Maya, right? Next week, is it?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Awesome. I start next week in Sydney.
Nice. So I'm gonna see you twice a week.
Oh, beautiful. How goes that?
Yeah.
Learn from the best. Okay, Oliver. I don't use Lovable, but several of my clients are and use Claude, Warp, and VO. Some of these I really want to learn, but like some of them are too Lovable's more at my level. Interests are securing via coded apps. I am interested in this. I was actually just asking Rod beforehand about the security piece of it, and integrating Lovable with back-end engineering teams. Equal not coded back-end.
There's a new update. It's not that new. A couple of weeks ago, and it makes it so easier. It's just a button. So everyone that has logged into Lovable in the last couple of days and published something, you're gonna see an e-security button. Let me check, and it says something like review security, and it's free. You don't even spend any credit, and it does everything. And because Lovable has such a good integration with Superbase, it's so reliable, and it's something that everyone should do.
Amazing. I've seen that and I love it because it doesn't use code. Your credits. Amazing. Anyone else who's just jumping in, if you can chuck in the chat what you do and why you're interested, like what you're interested in learning from this session, that would be amazing. And then if you could just fill out the poll, and we'll give it maybe 2 more minutes, and then we'll just jump into the session so we're not sitting around for too long. Cool. Okay, I love that there's getting to be more people who are thinking about it and very intrigued about, or maybe those are my words, that are intrigued about Lovable. And then, yeah, a couple of people who know a bit more about it.
I watched them a day. It's awesome. It was just the only problem to me, for us probably, is like it's 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
But like some crazy ideas out there.
Amazing. Varsha, hello, and she is the founder of Peckaroo. Oscar is in a data and AI consulting business, been waiting for an interactive Lovable session for a while. Amazing. It is interactive, so I'll run you through how you can get involved. Evan is working on Habitat, a platform that gamifies preventative health, leveraging biometrics, community, and rewards. Basically get rewarded to live healthily. I love that. And then has been building with Lovable, but encountering design issues. I feel like I have the same thing. Or you try and like update the UI and then some other page changes.
There's a few tricks I'll show today on specifically on that.
Amazing. And then Antonia, working in growth at BetaShares, still use Lovable, but are using a bunch of different AI platforms. Basha did Antler, and Oz, and then Sonia is building Tala Thrive. Okay, I'm going to stop reading these out. Make sure you've pulled in. There's a couple more people that haven't done the poll. We'll wrap that up and show the results. And then we've still got people joining, but they can just catch up with where we're at. Cool. I'm going to finish the poll. I'll close the poll off. So we've got about 3 people who are quite confident with the tool, but in saying that, one of them is Rod and one of them is me, and I don't know how confident I actually should be. We have 8 people who are dabbling and 11 people who are intrigued. So that's brilliant. Lots to learn. I'm going to end the poll now. And then I'll just quickly, before I hand over to Rod, show you guys how you can get involved with the in this conversation. So we'll have the chat open, so I'll keep watching that. If you have a question, a comment, or an idea, on the left side of the screen, there is the Q button. If you chuck that up, we can throw you the mic whenever you're ready, or whenever Rod's ready for you to jump in. Questions as we go are going to get you a lot more value than trying to remember them at the end. So we love to see that. And then, Rod, do you want to do the poll on what we want to build live now?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Okay, cool. So Rod is going to take over, but he has said that he is open to ideas on what you would like to see him build live, which will take up about 20 minutes of the session as well. So I've just put the poll in. This is your chance, if you're actually thinking about building something, to put your own idea in and see how we can build it for you. So if you can chuck any open answers in there, that'll be brilliant. And we'll see, we'll pick an idea out of what you guys submit.
Just keep in mind, if I create that tool and I publish it, it's going to be mine. I can be your co-founder. How about that?
Cool. Has anyone answered there? I've never used this open poll function and I can't see any answers. Maybe I'll put in an answer and then I might be able to see it all. Networking. Okay, cool. We've got 2 answers, but one of them's mine. Oh no, 5 people have answered. Why can I? Let's have a look. Standard. Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds, and then I'm just going to close the poll because I can't see all the results properly.
Yeah, I can't either.
I can only see 2. Can you see mine?
Oh, I can't see anything, actually.
No. Okay, cool.
I see the text for me to answer.
Cool. Cool. Is anyone keep going, I think I'll just end there. I feel like that's plenty of time. Okay, cool. End and show results. End poll. So we have it says 10 people have answered, but the ones that I can see are a full stack streaming platform where people can watch a live stream of ducks. Who is that? That's funny. Mine was a booking app for networking coffee catch-ups. Somebody else said, I want to see the back end of Lovable. I've built front end pages, but don't understand the back end. Okay, cool. I think that's not the product, but maybe we might dive into that. A chatbot and a really well-designed landing page with a waitlist.
All right, we'll try to build some of these. If not, we're gonna add some of these features into something else, because I really want to show super base backend API integrations with AI edge functions. So some of these are just falling short in all the features that I want to show you today. All right, 11 passed. Shall we?
Yeah, go.
All right.
Maybe you want to start by just saying, introducing yourself as well. I've skipped that.
I have it on my presentation.
Brilliant.
A full slide about me. So let's just share these. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right, slide 1, how to build with AI Lovable 101. My name is Rod, original from Chile. I live here in Australia. I'm currently the Global CRM and Automation Manager at Antler, an early stage VC. And I also been working with tools for a long time. So I started back in probably 2014, 2015, when AI wasn't a thing, when no code wasn't even a word. But if you think about it, like even Excel is a no code tool. And back in the 90s, there were like secret gatherings somewhere in the States where people would replicate Mario Bros using formulas in Excel. So the idea was always there. I started with Zapier, then I moved into other tools, ManyChat, and there's a lot of stuff. I've done Cursor, and for the last couple of months, I started using Lovable a lot. Actually, I was introduced to Lovable of probably November 2024. And that is me. The agenda for today, we're going to have an introduction to Lovable for those who haven't seen the platform yet, which is probably no one, but just in case. Then also, I'm going to talk about building with AI tools. We're going to do a demo, creating tools and applications, and a QA session. All right, so, all right, give me a second here. And first thing that I wanted to share actually is that you can build a lot of stuff, even Google Slide. Actually, this is not Google Slide. This is something I did with Lovable. So why am I starting with something that I built with Lovable that looks like Google Slide? Because this actually has a few functionalities. I can add images as well here. If no one knows that logo, that's a very useful tool we're going to use today. Now, let me just change to the real presentation. And I want to make my point and just give you the first tip, which is not linked to Lovable, but it's probably the most useful thing. So when you are learning a tool like Lovable, I think it's key that you copy platforms. It's very important that you start copying, replicating. Like one of the best things that I've done to learn this tool is actually try to recreate other startups that were successful. Why? Because basically, when you stand in someone else's shoulders and face the challenges they faced, you're gonna have to figure a way to solve that problem without having a guide or a tutorial, and that is key. Because ultimately, developing with AI tools or with pure code, it comes down to a lot of thinking and planning. All right, so that is very, very important. That said, I want to show you some of the tools that I've created. So The first one there, it's a fitness app that was actually made with Cursor a long time ago. And I think I stole it pretty much from the idea of Center, if anyone knows that Chris Hemsworth fitness app. And the thing was, I wanted to create a copy of a fitness app that would force me to learn how to build apps and publish them. So I grabbed the best things. I grabbed Cursor for the first time. I did about 70 versions of it until I created one that it was, to my view, better than Center for my purposes, and it's now published. It has users and it's free and it does the same thing that every other tool. And it taught me a lot of stuff. And now it has a very interesting algorithm. It taught me about algorithms and something that I wouldn't learn if I was only creating my own tools, right? So the second one, probably you heard about Sherlock. That's something that after stealing and copying some apps, I tried to improve something that I was out there. And what Sherlock does basically is a recruitment AI tool. And I'm going to walk you through that now. So if you haven't seen Sherlock, I'm going to show you how it looks and what it does. Can you guys see my screen? This is dashboard. This is fully developed with Lovable. This was built in 24 hours for a hackathon that Lovable did. And my idea was actually just try to build something that was actually usable. And all the learnings from the past, all the apps that I copied, everything actually became very useful in those 24 hours. I spent half of those 24 hours actually planning the app. And I only went on Lovable when I had a clear plan of what I wanted to do. So this app is for recruitment. So I wanted to build Google for recruitment, basically. So you come here, you have this kind of like search engine sort of view. And let's say I want to look for an AI specialist here in Sydney. I just put that, I click search candidate. This does an API call with an edge function that links Supabase to another tool that I use. And then I see 129 candidates here. I can see these candidates. I can see all of this data. A main challenge that I planned for, it was like, I didn't want to use LinkedIn scraping or anything that wasn't compliant. So it was very challenging for me to do that because a lot of people out there are actually scraping LinkedIn, which is not technically something you want to do. And then from here, you can add this person to a pipeline, right? And in the pipeline is where you can use AI actually to, for example, assess this person. And what this does, and this is purely Lovable, front end with a Supabase integration, which is like Lovable integration with Supabase is amazing. It calls artificial intelligence that grabs all the information about that person. It assesses that, and it gives me 3 different tabs with the scores. So I created an algorithm of 4 different levels of assessment, one for professional experience, one for education and background, one for technical skills, and one for leadership attitude. And it gives me like an outcome analysis, strengths of that person. Then based on that, I have recommended questions for this person. And then I can see development areas. And let's just save this. Even goes to extent, if I move this person to applied, a new button shows up where that person gets a link and they have an AI chat interview that asks the questions, that knows what is the role. All that is also a Lovable page. All of this only could happen because I was stealing, copying, and improving. So that is very, very, very important. So now let's go back to the presentation.
I'm interested, and maybe you're going to cover this later, but how did I'm dabbling with it at the moment, but the AI component that goes in, like produces all those the interview questions, etc.?
It's very, very friendly. Lovable is very friendly. When you know a couple of things, when you learn how to create edge functions, integrating APIs in Supabase, given the nature of the integration itself, Lovable is able to read everything that's happening in the back end and creating the best way to do that. So we're going to create something like that today with AI, and I'll show you step by step how to build it and how it looks.
Brilliant.
Yeah. No worries. So, common question: can you fully deploy tools? Yes, you can. Absolutely. And every day it's easier. Every day it becomes better, the outcome of people using it, because of the volume of people using Lovable. It's not only about people creating web apps anymore, like people is creating very complex stuff. And some of the easiest ones are also very successful. I have, for example, here's one is the first one there, AI Selfie.s. That's an Argentinian app. A guy that never used Lovable before created this app. There are a few versions of this already now, where you upload 2 or 3 pictures of yourself, and you get a professional picture for LinkedIn or your resume. And apparently makes about $4,000 in revenue every month. Then the one that I mentioned before, Quick Tables, that is a restaurant booking platform fully developed in Lovable and has gotten $120,000 in sales. Same for FrameSage. And then there's another space that is not that explored, I think. Imaginary Space, the one in the bottom right, that is an agency that creates apps using Lovable. So if you want to develop your app, you go to Imaginary Space, you tell them about your project, you tell them about your MVP, and they will actually use Lovable to create that app and give you a full production developed, already deployed app. So it's very, very doable. When it comes down to that question, can you fully deploy tools? 100% you can deploy full tools. Now, what did these people understood? AI coding isn't magic, it's a toolkit. So you have in your computer the best team of engineers, 100%, but it's not magic. So the same way you need to instruct a team, you need to instruct Lovable, and you need to have a good tech stack, all right? So when you use Lovable, if you use it with Supabase and you know how to use APIs, you have a very good toolkit to develop an app. Secondly, they didn't wait for it perfect, and this is not something that is going to help you with just Lovable. I think for everyone that is developing stuff, speed beats polish. Every successful story out there starts with someone that created something and push it out there to get opinion, push it out there to get feedback. Myself, I posted about this on LinkedIn last week. I had 100 credits that were gonna expire, and I created a tool that creates growth plans, go-to-market plans for startups. And then I pushed it to Reddit, got destroyed. The day after, created a second version, and now I'm in version number 3. So remember, speed beats polish. So build it, publish it, get feedback, and improve. Then they build around one pane, and I think this also happens a lot, especially when you're starting with Lovable. It's so flashy, it's so easy, it's so friendly that you want to build every single possible feature into your idea. My recommendation, if you start with that, just keep it simple. Remember what is the pain point you want to solve and focus on that. And the last one, and I think it's very important, building is not enough. Pushing 100 apps for sure is going to help you become a better no-code developer. But if you want your app to have users, you need to push it. You need to use marketing tactics. I learned about that because Sherlock wasn't the first tool that I created, but it became very popular because I created it in 24 hours. It was performing very well. At one point, I mentioned that I had a beach volleyball tournament in between, so I didn't actually use the 24 hours. And that started raising a lot of traction in Twitter. And then I started publishing. So building is not enough. You need to also focus on how to get the users. And then next slide, very important. This is what I use. This is a very simple tech stack, and I think it's very, very good starting point for anyone. I use Lovable, I use Superbase, I use OpenAI and Claude and Gemini, any LLM there. And then I use the last one, it's called 21 First. And that is actually sort of a marketplace of components, cards, announcement cards, backgrounds, border, call to actions, you call it. And then they have one button that is copy prompt, which is very, very simple to use. So you can copy the prompt of what you see, paste it in Lovable, and it's going to create that exact version of whatever you're looking for. And this is the one thing that I use to improve the UI. So I go there, I usually spend a couple of hours comparing, I create some versions. In this tool, the last tool, there's a lot of different versions of this, so you can find one that suits you best. But it's what makes the difference between an app that looks like an AI coded app and an app that looks like someone put some real thought behind the UI, UX, and how it looks. So just keep in mind this one right here. Now, before we jump in, what you need to do before actually going on Lovable. I think it's very important to plan. It's not only going to save you credits, but it's going to save you time, and it's going to force you to understand your entire product, your entire app, whatever you're trying to build. So the first thing I recommend you to do is map out your user flow. So I want the user to come here, sign up. That's going to trigger an onboarding form. I gather that data, then they go here. And then you can create the returning user flow. And have that written down is going to help you a lot to plan the rest of the things. After having that, I usually create a markdown file. Markdown is a very simple language, basically stacks with hashtags and star signs. And I create that with step-by-step logic. And I usually use any AI chat to help me create that. I give it the first user flow, and so I create a markdown of the entire step-by-step logic. So I have a more comprehensive version of that. Then, very important, decide the visuals of your tool. I would go to 21 First, the page that I was mentioning before. Let me just grab it here. 21st.dev. I'll put it in the chat for everyone. And
I've used it. I actually think it's incredible. It just levels up everything.
Yeah, it's very good. And then I would go there and see the new ones that people upload, because people upload things every day, the ones that have a sense of what I want to achieve. I would go again to an AI chat, and I would say, like, create a color palette for an app that looks like this, and so on. Then I have my visuals for the tool. Then I write down the back-end data flow, which doesn't necessarily need to be something complex. That's the opposite of the user flow. So if in the user flow you say, I want the user to sign up, in the back-end data flow, I say, make sure that I store safely the information of the user and that it links to the profile, and if we're building Instagram, to the reels and stories they upload. So it's the other phase of the user flow. And finally, I will always recommend use templates to write your first prompt. And if it's your first time, read the Lovable Bible. There is a blog article published on Lovable's website that is called the Prompting Lovable Bible. I'll share the link as well. And that is a very comprehensive guide of the best prompting and the best things to do in every case. It shows you what actually uses credits, what is free, how to do refactoring, what is the best way to explain the user flow, and all of the things that we are actually going to go through now. Now, this is an example of a very simple user flow for Instagram. So you have user discovers Instagram via X, then install the mobile app, register with email or Facebook or Google account. You will get the list of all the links shared, absolutely. Step 4, account setup, adds profile picture, username, bio, and optional link. Step 5, find and follow, suggested friends, influencer, or pages to follow. Step 6, feed introduction. So it's very simple, but for example, this allows you to understand why step number 5 is so important. Something I wouldn't thought of, but if I suggest friends and influencers or pages to follow, then when they land in the feed for the first time, they have content to like, to start engaging with the app. So that's why it's so important to write down in a very simple way the user flow. And then the backend flow for the same example would be user signs up and the profile is stored or created in the database. Save profile info in Supabase. Number 3, find friends. The system suggests people to follow based on contacts or popular accounts. Step 4, follow accounts. When the user follows someone, it's saved so posts from them can appear later, and so on. So when you have these two things, you can go to any AI chat, put it in and say, like, create a basic knowledge base for an AI coding app based on these flows. Very important. These 2 steps are very important to do. I added a very minimal first prompt for you template. So I need X app with authentication, via Supabase, starting with Tailwind. Main features are A, B, and C, and start by creating a development plan, a style guide, and saving it as a markdown file. Very important. A lot of people rely only on the knowledge base, but actually you can store markdown files in your project. So what I'm doing in the last couple of months is, once I know exactly my project, the first prompt is an instruction for the chat to create whatever is the main page, but also creating the comprehensive plan as a markdown file. So every time that I have a question or something, I can refer to that plan, and the tool can refer to that plan as well. So everything makes sense. So after 20 prompts, the guide is exactly the same. Because the thing that happens, and there's a very good phrase from Atomic Habits, the book, if you start and your first prompt is 1 degree off, in prompt number 100, your entire project is a mile off. So you need to make sure that the first prompt it's accurate, and then you follow the same plan constantly. Very simple example for Instagram as well. I need a social media photo sharing app with authentication started with Tailwind. Main features are users can post images with captions, users can follow, unfollow each other, and view a feed of posts from accounts they follow. That is a very simple way to start something. But now I want to show you the opposite. Once you're working already, you've been working for a while with this, what you can do is start adding things. So let me just copy a text, and we're going to go to Lovable. So I'm going to paste here a very long prompt. This prompt has a lot of code, and all of this code is coming from the page that I shared, which is this one, 21st step. So I went through all of these little assets here, and I chose the ones that I liked. For example, this one, you can click here, open component, and then I can click here. You can see that says copy prompt, and I'm going to copy a prompt that is built for Lovable to understand. So I did this for a while and then wrote down the actual prompts into this one right here. So I have this, created a bold modern landing page for a startup community called Aussie Founders Club using the following structure and content. Remember, this is a very complex first one, but it's very comprehensive because I want to show the extent of data that you can put to Lovable today. So I have the brand style. I'm sorry if the colors are a bit off. After that, I have the navigation, very, very similar to the user flow. Then the hero section. And then here I added the title. I added a video, I added the link for the image. So I'm giving all the assets that the tool needs to fully develop this. Then I have the other sections and so on, and then it has the actual code. So we scroll down, and I'll share the entire prompt as well with you guys. I have all the code of the specific sections that I wanted to use. So I'm going to send this. And while that thing is being created, I will jump back here and talk about my next point. The feature that's called knowledge base, it's not very well known, but it's very useful. So there's a section in Lovable. We're going to do it when we create the app, and you create a knowledge base, which is a guide, and helps Lovable get what you're trying to build. So it's going to make Lovable refer to this information constantly in order to make or to have a better outcome. And an example of that for the same use case, that is Instagram, is like you have the core functionalities right here, and then you have the user experience here. So this is gonna make Lovable come back and understand what you're trying to build on a deeper level. So it's not gonna make that many errors when you're creating a new page. It's always gonna be linked to this UX and so on, which is very, very important. And then also refactor your code. This is something that I noticed people don't do. If you refer to the Bible blog that I shared, they have a whole section on refactoring. Refactoring is basically telling Lovable to review the code base of your app and find possible errors or areas of improvement. I added here a very simple prompt. So for that app that I built, Sherlock, that I showed before, for example, at one point told me that I had one section that was called search details with 560 lines, and it was too much. The entire app was relying on that one section, and too many things could go wrong. So it gave me a plan to refactor, and it saved me like 20% in coding lines, and it fixed a lot of stuff. Refactoring is something that you don't want to do one time. Refactoring is something that you want to do every 10 prompts, every 20 prompts. You just constantly need to, the same way you would ask a development team to clean up the code, or it becomes a thing they do every X amount of time, you need Lovable to do it every 10, every 20 messages as well. And before launching, obviously, you do a very comprehensive full code base review to clean everything before you launch. And as I said, a lot of people don't do this. And I've noticed that a lot of people don't do this because they think they're wasting credits. Because when you refactor, Lovable is not building. We want to go back and just remember how important planning is. So if you want to really save credits, probably you need to refactor more so the tool doesn't get lost in what it's building. Okay, and let me see how we're going here. This one takes a while because I am giving a lot of input to it, but I think it's pretty close to be ready. And then it's showing me all the key features. And remember, we just use one prompt here. Let's see what we get. Hopefully it loads. There you go. So let me just try to move this. So it's Aussie Founders Club. We're startup start and scale together. Scroll down, we have very nice animation there. The video, call to action, this video of Megan, core animation, and another animation with a picture of me. And you can click this button right here to see how it looks on mobile. And that is something that is very interesting as well. Just if you keep reminding Lovable the need to be mobile, the results are incredible. So we're going to build an application on top of this right here. But for now, let's just go back and finish this. So once you've learned about all of this stuff, you use your refactoring. The next step, natural step, if you're starting with Lovable, is learning how to use Supabase. Today, we're going to build stuff with Supabase. So I'm going to go through this very fast. You want to learn how to do authentication. You need to understand tables. You need to understand SQL script. I'll show you what that is. The data schemas under Supabase, and also edge functions and how they work. And then if you want to take it to the next level, you want to learn how to add payments. I've found that the easiest way is through Stripe. They have a very good integration with it. It takes longer. So today I'm not going to add any payment to the tool, but I'll share a link of a video that I created about 10 minutes on how to do it step by step. It has a lot of back and forward between the tools. So just keep in mind that you need to create a Stripe API key, and then you need to create a webhook. You need to implement the credit a subscription logic, and you need to integrate the payment flow in your app. So if you're integrating Stripe and payments, make sure you have it in the knowledge base at the beginning, so the tool builds up knowing that at one point it's going to have to develop edge functions with Stripe payments. Now, very quick as well, common pitfalls, where people do the most mistakes, as far as I've noticed, is weak first prompt, not using a knowledge base, ignoring mobile responsiveness. Then there's a second layer, overloading prompts. It happens a lot when you want to save credit, which is not really something you want to do. You want the tool to think task by task. So don't try to get 5 things done in a prompt, otherwise the result is just not going to be good. Trading without credit awareness as well. It's linked to the point before. A lot of stuff don't use credit, and a lot of stuff use more credit than just a simple chat thing. So if you understand that, one more is in that Bible that I'm going to share. It's very important and helpful. Then connecting Supabase too early. One thing that happens a lot is that people start building schemas and tables and integrations with Supabase, but as the app changes, Lovable cannot change back certain things. So let's say if you are changing something to the previous version, but the Supabase is not changing because you need to change it manually, then your app is going to stop working. So you do want to add Supabase integration at the beginning, but wait until you have the entire flow ready before you connect the data schemas. And then there are 2 very important red ones: relying on revert without backups. Do backups, guys. Like I lost a project last week and I hate myself for it. And that was because I wanted to save on credits and I didn't want to connect to GitHub because I wanted to go to sleep. And then I don't have access to that project anymore. And it's a pain. Calling APIs from the front end, obviously get familiar with something I mentioned before. It's called edge function, and it's a very safe way to store all your secrets or all of your APIs and do all the calls. And also, when you learn about edge functions, you can create your own REST API. So you can even use tools like N to call your Lovable functions in the backend. And very important is keeping security reviews. This happens a lot because you want the tool out there, you want the tool you want people. And as long as I say, get it done and get it ready and get it in front of people, this one needs to be done before you publish it, all right? So you don't want to get your data exposed as it happened a few weeks ago for an app. I've done it well. At the beginning, I created something that had like 100 users, and because of a mistake, at one point, all the users could see everyone else's information. It wasn't private. It was just some random marketing advice, but still, like, you don't want that to happen. And just on that note, this button, this feature here is very important. So when you connect Supabase, you're going to see this Supabase security warning. And then you also have the review security, which is free. Use them before you publish your app. With the agents, with the new agents, it's very comprehensive, and it's probably going to flag and fix everything that could be a security problem. All right, let's go fast because we have only 15 minutes. So let's build something. Let's jump on Lovable, and let's see if we can do it in 15 minutes or less. I'm going to use something that I already have in place because I already wrote the first prompt and so on, and we are going to be able to save time. So I'm going to go here, and let me just open my Supabase and everything else. And all right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to add a new section here. This section, let's call it one prompt, and it's going to be a startup idea generator for people to log in and use AI to generate ideas after they submit a form. Very simple, but it's going to allow us to go through the entire thing. So I'm going to open this and put my first message here. I need I'm saying I need to create a new section for this landing page, the startup idea generator app with authentication. And let's delete this so it doesn't overwrite the rest. And then we have the user flow here, an idea prompt form where users can enter a problem, audience niche, AI power engine that instantly returns a complete startup blueprint, including name and so on. And then starting by creating a development plan for this section. And save it as a markdown. All right, let me just read that back. Because if we're not adding payments, I'm gonna try to add a credit system where you share this. And now, first thing I'm gonna do is gonna put this in chat, and I'm gonna let it think because I want this to develop a plan to do that. I'm gonna just click here. Now Lovable is gonna start developing the plan. At the same time, I'm gonna go to Supabase, and I'm gonna click a new project, and I'll create a new project. I'm gonna just leave this as it is, random password here, and I'll choose Sydney. This is the region where most of your users are gonna be, but then there's something that is called edge functions. Edge functions are serviceless functions that happen in Supabase, and they are happening as close as possible to your user, even if your user is not in Sydney. And that what allows, those are right here, what those allows is that everything is a lot faster. So instead of waiting 2 seconds, in average, someone is going to wait 0.8. And now I'm going to give you a very quick walkthrough Supabase for those who haven't seen it before. You have to the left all the sections. You have authentication. This is where you configure people creating accounts in your app. So if you create an app where people can sign up and log in, you configure that from here. I'll show you in a second. Then you have the table editor, where you're gonna see all the tables right here. So tables that are linked to profiles, tables that are linked with the ideas this tool is gonna give them. Remember, we're giving people a tool to create startup ideas. And then I'll show you the database where you actually see how all of this data flows. Something that happens with Lovable when you connect Supabase, let me go back to Lovable, is that it's going to create a front-end architecture. So as we can see, we have a data generator section in the main landing section, which is this one, and then you have the idea prompt. The DSX are pages in React, and then you have all of this, and this is a flow. And then you're gonna have this code right here. This is a code that is gonna create all the tables in Supabase. So I'm going to say implement the plan. Implement the plan. Let's start creating everything in Supabase. And I'm going to click here, top corner. I'm going to connect Supabase. I'm going to connect a project, and I'll connect the project I just created. Let's give it a second. There you go. Now, I didn't even have to send a message now. This is awesome. And now I'll say implement the plan. Let's say creating everything in Supabase. Now, what usually happens here is that it's going to show me a button that says run a script, and that script is going to create things in Supabase. Very important. That will consume 2 credits, not 1. So it's going to consume 1 credit when it shows you the script, and you click in run, and then because when you click in run, it's technically a second action is gonna charge you another credit. So you have 1 for creating this thing that we see here, and then another one when I click apply changes, because it's a second action and it's going to create everything in Supabase. Let's give it a second there. And we should at one point see something like this, right? So this is how data schema looks in Supabase. And what this is showing us is basically how the data passes from the user to the credit transactions. This one is with payments though. The products they create, the startup idea, and the credit. So basically, we will able to see something just like that in our project when that project finishes. Here, and now it sent me another script because it found some security warnings. And this is something that is awesome. This is something that it didn't happen as often before. Now, because you have agents, the agents, and now you can see the line of thought. The agents are going to create something. They're going to be able to see the logs in Supabase, and they're going to be able to let you know if there's any potential security issue, and they will fix it. And then I'll just click, and then the reminder security warning is about that OTP experiment, which is a general configuration. That's normal. And now it's going to create an edge function. And I'm going to show you something here. So we don't have to wait. This is a different project that I have. And we're going to go to edge functions. And this project is a project where you add your information, your startup information, and it gives you a growth plan, a go-to-market plan. And then in the edge functions, you have a bunch of things. Each one of these is an action that happens in Supabase, so everything is secure. everything here, like all the payments go through edge functions, are encrypted and very secure, so you don't have issues with data. And then each one of these works as an API. So I have logs here. This one is not live, but I have also a code. And this is a code that tells, for example, my AI agents in the back end, how they need to act. And this is the beauty of edge functions. So you have all these functionalities working together as an orchestra. And you can have a bunch of different ones, and then each one of them will have one different action and sequence. And because the time, like, it happens very fast, you can organize a lot of functions very, very fast. Another one very interesting here is a marketing research that actually lets you create a deep research with OpenAI. You can see, like, I don't expose my key here. It says OpenAI. Also, it has a lot of instructions, very specific on what I want. And we are creating the same thing in our project. So I'm going to go back to the project. And now we can see that I have 3 different things: the user profile, the generated idea, and the created transaction. And if I go to the database, we can actually see how those are working together. So all the data passes from one to the other. And I'm going to go to Lovable. Let's move to the next step. So I'm going to ask him, review the code base in our plan and tell me what are the next steps. I want to integrate OpenAI API to this tool. All right. Now it's going to read everything in the knowledge base as well. All the plan from past is going to also take on Superbase, and it's going to tell me what are the next steps. And hopefully we can see something working right after. So it's creating the idea generator. And after that is, all right, complete all necessary tables. That's awesome. Critical step right here, OpenAI. All right, let's implement this plan in order. We're gonna do first the authentication. Then we're gonna do the OpenAI setup. 3, we're gonna do the user dashboard. And let's see if it has something else. Dashboard. I'm just gonna copy. I gotta clarify that I wanna only implement one of these things per message, and I'm starting with the authentication. Because even when Lovable tells you that it's not the priority, you want to test it as a logged-in user. So it's something you might want to add before anything else. Well, it happens, and just to save time, is there any questions so far?
None that I can see. But yeah, do just hit the Q button if you've got a question. Cool. Anyone that needs to drop off, I will share the recording in the Slack.
All right, now.
Put up in
Yes?
the next 10 minutes.
I'm trying. If we don't make it, I'll finish this and I'll send you the rest of the video.
Amazing.
All right, now you can see it's going to ask me to add the API key. I have my API right here. I submit that. This action doesn't actually use any credit. So it's very important to know what consumes credit, what doesn't. And even this one is 2 messages. Also, the source for this not using credit is Reddit. It's not Lovable official. So I'm just repeating what I found on Reddit because I'm not completely sure about the API. It's one time actually I spent half a credit on it. Opening it. All right, perfect. So step number 3, let's create the user dashboard and all the elements to test this. All right, I'm gonna jump to Supabase now to check what has created. We know we have the tables here, and we know we have all the data schema, in the database. I'm gonna check if it created it. There you go. So we have the secret here, which is gonna be all my Supabase information plus the OpenAI API. This is just a digest. This is not the actual key because it's secured. And then I have my functions. This is the code that talks to OpenAI. So this is a key element because when you want to change something and you're using Supabase edge functions, you can change it outside Lovable. So I can tweak by myself some stuff here. For example, this is the prompt. This is actually the prompt for the AI. So it's saying, generate a comprehensive startup idea based on the following. Problem is going to grab it from the form, target audience, niche, and return a JSON object, very important. So JSON is structured data. So if we ask the AI to give us a JSON, then we can parse it and lay out in a nice way. That was the first big learning that I had when I was building Sherlock, because I didn't know I was asking the tool to create an HTML output, and then AI wouldn't actually create something that it was good enough to parse. And then JSON, actually, I realized JSON is the way to do it. And then we have a lot of other functions here that connect everything, they glue everything together. And now let's go back here. And I'm trying to find the section. All right, this is something that is happening because I didn't add anything to the knowledge base. And this is just a taste thing. I don't like these icons, and you can instruct the tool in this icon not to do this. So I'm gonna get started. I can sign up, but I'm gonna do something before. And this is something you absolutely need to do. When you have the authentication set up, you need to come here. You go to sign in providers. You know, make sure that email is enabled. That means that Lovable already created everything, but uncheck the confirm email, because otherwise you're going to receive an email trying to confirm that you created a user, and then when you click on that, it's not going to work because you haven't even published the app yet, and so on. So for now, for testing purposes, remember to always uncheck confirm email when you're trying to test and create your first user. All right, let's go back here, and I'm gonna sign up. So I'll add the password. I create an account created. That is good. When I go back here, I want you to come to authentication again, and then refresh the page. And under user, we see a unique ID that connects all the data to this user, my email, and my provider. So we have authentication. This is working. And then now I'm going to generate my idea. Before doing that, a very good tip is to, if you're in Chrome, right click, go to inspect, and then click on console. And then we can see a lot more stuff. This is from the entire thing, so don't worry about this. Errors are there working now, but when we generate the idea, it's going to start giving some data here. And if you see an error and you actually paste that there, it's going to be enough information for it to fix it. All right, I want to solve problems for startups. Go to market. And startup founders. This is very bad input, and my niche is what's going to be my niche? I want solo founders. Let's see if it generates idea. And now what's happening, it's calling that edge function, and we can see there's an error. And a non-2xx status is usually linked to an API. My experience, most of them are API problems. Let me just add that screenshot here. I'm going to put chat because I wanted to fix it with a plan. Can you review the code and try to fix this issue? Create a plan. Another thing you can do when I'm doing complex stuff with 2 or 3 APIs, it's actually send a screenshot as well to another AI to give me more information for me to understand. So I would go to ChatGPT and ask, why is this happening into my app? Translate into understandable language for me, and I would have also, it helped me to catch up with what's actually going on without having to know all the technicalities. This is something that happens with the agents, the feature agents. As you see, like, it's not just giving me one answer, it's thinking, which it makes it so much better than any other AI coding tool out there. And I can click here and I can see where are the things it's looking. And if you check this, you can see Superbase log. It's all right. I'm going to just implement the plan because I don't want to go into every detail, and I want to finish in 1 minute. So let's cross. I'm going to cross my fingers, see if this works. If not, you're going to get the video of this tool after. But this is a very interesting point. A lot of people complain about too many changes when they're creating apps. And a lot of these people never work with engineers and development teams in the past. Coding is the same. Either you're using 45 people or one tool that does it all. Coding is a lot of troubleshooting. And the way to reduce that is planning ahead. All right. So if you know your workflow, if you know how things work, if you copy someone else's idea, you have a better approach. But a lot of building apps is actually finding out some errors that is going on, how to, and try to solve them in the best possible way with the cleanest code. And that happens with these tools, and that happens with humans. The beauty is like these tools are way faster. So let me just refresh. And we're gonna give it a last try. So I am logged in. I'm gonna I want to solve GTM, go to market plans for startups. What did I put for indie founders? I don't know if that helps. Inspect. And no, we got a lot more. I don't know, Megan, if you want to call it, or we keep trying. You're muted.
I need to run off about 120. Yeah. We can run to 120.
What's that, sorry?
I need to run off at like 120, so we can run to 120.
All right, so I'm going to actually go to the edge function, see if we can solve this in 10 minutes. And what I'm going to do from here, I'm actually going to publish this. Oh my God. All right, I'm going to show you something that is the worst, dumbest thing ever, okay? And it's exactly what it said. You see there, red there, that says that I put the wrong API?
Yeah.
So I put the wrong API. So the tool works. What doesn't work is the human behind it, as usual. So let me go to my OpenAI platform and get a quick API. And that is something that actually happens a lot. And it's usually the same error. It's what I said before. I'm sorry. I'm opening 25 authentication things here. What happens is that non-XX2 error, and that usually indicates that the problem is with the API itself, not with the code. So I'm gonna grab real quick, and I'll go to my dashboard. I'm sorry I cannot show this, but I'm just creating my key. I copied the key, and now I'm gonna come here and say the problem was me. I added the wrong API key. Can you help me add a new one? I'm just gonna clarify the wrong OpenAI API. All right, so now it's going to give me a little message where I can add it. We're going to try it one more time. This happened to me when I published Sherlock as well, and it took a lot more effort to find out what it was because I didn't know. And the problem was that I added $10. In OpenAI platform for people to try, but it got 600 very compulsive users on Sunday night And then the next day, I tried it out, and I was like, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. And I was freaking out because Twitter was talking about it, everyone was talking about it, and it wasn't working. And it took me a lot of time. All right, added the new one. That's encrypted as an edge secret in Supabase. And now I'm going to try one more time. So my problem statement, I'm trying to help founders to create plans in an easier way with an app. Maybe that's too much. Let's see. Founders. My God, I don't know how to write. Founders and builders. And the industry is startups in tech, just to be more specific. Inspect this. I have the entire history here, so don't worry about that red. And let's see what happens. And this is also very important to understand. The problem was me. This is very important. Try to fix, uses no credits, different error. And this is what I thought it was going to happen. So because the original problem was me not putting the right API, I forced Lovable to try new things. So you're telling Lovable to fix this because the problem is in the code when the problem wasn't in the code. So it changed stuff, tried to find a solution, and that's how it goes. So now I could assume we're gonna get an error, and now it's gonna analyze everything knowing that the error it's visible for it. Now it just generated data right away when it changed the code. All right, one last time. We have 3 minutes. Oh no, another error with that function. All right, guys, I think I'm about to quit. And this is all right. It failed to pause the response. So I didn't, and this happens when you do things fast, I didn't indicate what was the exact format of the JSON. And because we're basically telling ChatGPT to give us an answer with a JSON, it's not always gonna do it in the perfect way. So sometimes it's gonna fail and sometimes it won't fail. We have here the JSON, right? So we have the response, everything worked. It's just the AI didn't give us the right format for it. So we have Go, Market Wizard, Launchpad Pro, Market Maven, a value proposition, and so on. But what's happening here is that the answer wasn't set up as the code actually explained it to it. And this happens a lot when you're working with AI. This can be a small thing like the AI, it's gonna reply, there you go, here's the code, here's what you need. So with practice, you're gonna realize that maybe return only a JSON or return an output that is only this JSON. So I'm gonna deploy updates and we'll try it one more time. But at least now we know what the issue is. It's not the API, it's the way the AI is responding. My advice, always Claude first. And you can even try Gemini, which is free, but OpenAI tends to be very talkative. And if we go here, let me just try to find It's not specified. I didn't even specify the model. So I should add the model here, and maybe don't add GPT 4.1 or GPT 5.0, which are made to be human language and reply as a conversation. Maybe I can use a different model that is only going to reply with code, which is why I ended up doing with Sherlock. All right, it's 1:20. I don't know if I'm sorry if it's going to work. There you go. Finally, at 1:20, 1 minute before I was going to give up.
Right on time.
Only was for me to put the word only in the edge function. And I did it directly in Superbase, so I didn't even spend a credit. But those are the mistakes that you're going to encounter. Most of the times, they're not Lovable linked mistakes. And that's great because like the entire problem here wasn't Lovable. It was actually the integration of AI. And it's something that if you're trying to be a native, an AI native tool or app, it's something you need to really be aware of. Most of the things you fix are going to be linked to the AI large language model, not actually Lovable coding. All right.
It's good to see behind the scenes. I remember when I first used Lovable, I feel like the people that are on the call probably have got a bit of experience with it, but I'll just be sitting there. I like literally chewed up 100 credits once, just trying to tell Lovable to fix itself, and it was hallucinating. However, it has gotten a lot better since then as well.
100%. I'm gonna publish this for everyone to mix and copy. So you can watch the video and then go and see the errors that I got and everything that I got, and I'll just export the logs from Superbase. So if you want to see what's going on, but yeah, as I said, steal, copy, improve, and just keep building.
Amazing. So we'll chuck, it takes a little bit for this recording to wrap up, but I'll chuck it into the Slack. And if you can share the slides and any links in that Slack too, I'll run with it and put it into the newsletter.
Will do, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rod. That was amazing.
Thank you guys for staying.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.